allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of Bowling Green City Council. We're certainly pleased that you're all here this evening. As always, it's great to see School Superintendent Scrucci and Board President Stewart with us this evening. Thanks for coming. Hey, would you please call the roll?
Osbacher.
Here.
Harold.
Here.
Hollenbach.
Here.
Jeffers.
Here.
Robinette.
Here.
Roland.
Here.
Zanfordino.
Here.
The minutes for the meeting that was held on September 3rd, 2019 were presented to council prior to this meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to these minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The minutes are approved as presented. Okay, is there correspondence this evening?
The only item I have this evening is prior to the meeting, I distributed to you the financial budget summary report for the month of August 2019. That's all I have.
Thank you. I am not aware that we have any special recognitions this evening, so we'll proceed directly to lobby visitation. Kay, has anyone signed up for lobby visitation?
The first person is Tony Vetter.
So I am not Tony Vetter, but he's invited me to accompany him. I am Bill Donnelly, the chair of the Black Swamp Arts Festival, and I'm here with Tony. Tony will express his own point of view, but I am here to thank the city and all aspects of the city for their cooperation with us in being able to produce an incredibly successful 27th Black Swamp Arts Festival. We were grateful to Lori Treader and Brian Kraft, who met with us, or members of our committee several times over the course of the long, hot summer, that kept us having faith that we would be able to operate our festival as planned. You may have heard or seen, there were many rumors over the summer that maybe the festival won't happen, and we, because of the confidence we had in the city and our conversations with them, were able to maintain a firm stance that not only would it happen, but we knew how important it was, and indeed it was, for downtown Bowling Green to finally bring all that business down. So thank you, Brian and Lori, and the mayor who supported us all along, and all departments of the city. Police were terrific before and during. Had several conversations with them, and they kept so much a really peaceful, nice level. Fire department provided training for our committee just a few days before the festival, and reminders about use of fire extinguishers. So we were as safe as we could be with the festival. And again, this partnership with the city about producing the festival is critical to us. You know, our mission is to celebrate the arts and to connect the community and the arts, but it's also to show off Bowling Green for ourselves, to celebrate the city ourselves, and to bring visitors by tens of thousands to the city to celebrate our city. And through the partnership, we pulled that off. So thank you all very much.
Bill, did you say it was the 27th year?
The 27th.
I assured the mayor last meeting it was the 26th, but I was close.
You had a wedding on your mind, John.
Yes, thank you very much.
No, yeah, we were. This was 27th, and the
27th,
mayor
of course,
knows
yeah.
because thank the mayor in January. He wrote a beautiful letter of support for us to the Ohio Arts Council that helped us land a grant, and I think he might have even mentioned it's the 27th. So I know Mayor Edwards remembers those things.
Thank you, Bill.
Bill, I think, was it the most successful event, Bill, that you've had in the years?
Yeah, this was, it's hard to compare one festival to another because we've had so many wonderful festivals here. But I think particularly as a follow-up to last year when we had the remnants of Hurricane Gordon and the worries about safety and needing to close down, that was a down note for all of us, although we made the best of it. And again, the city's cooperation in helping us do that as fully as we could was vital. So we felt like we did a good festival. And in some ways, that was a great accomplishment, pulling off what we did. But this year, from a financial point of view, although, it's early, we have bills coming in, we'll know later. But we did have our biggest grossing, from the point of view of our concession sales, our biggest grossing nights on Friday and Saturday in the history of the festival. That's just one measure. We also felt like the music was as good as any festival we've ever had. We had incredible support from the media and, most importantly, our festival goers who loved it. Great talk about it all around the area. Our artists, we think this was our best art show in several years. So hard to compare one with another, but I think it was it was among our most successful festivals. And I should mention one other thing without naming names, because that would take too long. I want everybody to know there are 25 people on the Black Swamp Arts Festival Committee who work year-round, and I mean work hard and long and very smart and creative ways all year long, not just at the festival, and all month before the festival and all festival long, and they are critical to the success of this. So if you know any of them, because you know some names, please thank them as well.
Thank you very much, Bill. It was a great event for those who all got to attend it. I got a couple notes. First, I want to also thank Joe for all your hard work with the festival, too. The community tree lighting, it will be on November the 22nd. I know we're thinking holidays already, but better than where we were last year at this time. So anyway, on tree lighting on November 22nd, Shop Small Business Saturday, you get to visit Santa. That will be November the 30th. And we're doing some window contests downtown. That will happen also, and there'll be a chance to win up to $500 in drawings for that. And there's a few other things that we'll have on our calendar and on our website as things come along. But I just want to let you know that we have started a Think Local, Shop, Dine, and Explore promotion. This is going to happen throughout the entire year. So Shop Small Saturday is something that they do once a year with American Express. But we decided as a community, working with the Chamber of Commerce and the CVB, to make something happen all year round. So it's going to be Think Local, Shop, Dine, and Explore. And we're going to promote that throughout the year with special events and through special promotions. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Bill, also thank you. Thank you for your report. And I just wanted to say on behalf of council, thank you and your committee for all of your hard work and all of the hundreds of volunteers I know within the community that step up and help over the course of it. But it's obvious that is a well-oiled machine as the festival continues to grow each and every year. And we're really grateful for everything that you and your group does.
I'm mentioning that the 800 volunteers who are there on festival weekend, one by one, BG citizens mostly, who help us.
Terrific. Thank you.
Mary Hinkleman.
Hello, everyone. Mary Hinkleman with the Bowling Green Chamber of Commerce, and I made a grocery list of all the people to thank for this wonderful Black Swamp Arts Festival, and I feel like I should just but anyway, I want to reiterate, thank you, Bill, and to your entire committee for all the great work they did to make this festival just such a huge success. But behind that, again, the volunteers, we all know how important those volunteers are, and sometimes we don't take the time to thank them. But again, with the city, Lori Treader, Joe, Chief Hetrick, Chief Mormon, and all the public works people, Brian Kraft, thank you all so very much. This had to be probably the most stressful festival we probably have ever seen, with everything that was happening. And I know from the bottom of my heart, thank you for sticking with us and not letting that dream go for a successful festival. Start the momentum now. Tony mentioned the tree lighting. We're also in the process of getting our holiday parade in hand. Let's keep that good thought about the city of Bowling Green going with a great holiday parade. We have contracted with WTOL. We will again be doing a live 2-hour broadcast with them, which was exceptional last year. The commentary really told a story about Bowling Green and what a great place we are, the successes we have coming from Bowling Green, and we want to keep that momentum going. The mayor has agreed to be our Grand Marshal this year, and I am excited to say our honorary Grand Marshals will be the Firefly Nights organizers. So I'm excited to be able to recognize them. I know that Downtown BG, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, are also coming on to help with being presenting sponsors along with the city. And I'm just doing all this because I know you guys have it in for me for this parade. So gotta get my first. I'm just teasing. And BGSU is definitely going to support us hugely with their band this year, who we missed. Freddie and Frida, Sick, their cheerleaders, and a whole slew of their people from Bowling Green State University. We've got more to come, so stay tuned. Just excited to get it on your calendars for November the 23rd. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you for those reports. Let's move on to the introduction of new legislation.
Mr. President,
Mr. Robinette.
I have an ordinance from the Planning, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee amending the zoning district map of the city of Bowling Green, Ohio for in-lot number 2801 and in-lot 2802, generally located at the northwest corner of North Enterprise Street and Frazee Avenue, from M2 General Industrial to R2 Single Family Residential zoning, as petitioned for by Maurer Rentals, LLC.
Thank you, Greg.
Mr. President,
Mr. Jeffries.
from the Finance Committee, I have a resolution authorizing the municipal administrator to enter into a renewal of the agreement with the Wood County Public Defender. I have an ordinance providing supplemental appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Bowling Green, Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2019 and ending December 31st, 2019. And we have sort of a last minute ordinance here, and I'm not sure if I should go ahead and read this this time. And then Lori, you're going to explain this to us before we...
Bruce, I think you already did. They're the same thing. That's just a copy that I gave you. It's the supplemental appropriation.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Official reports. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, members of council, and all assembled. Thank you so much. Bill Donnelly has already left here with Tony Better, but how much we appreciate their comments. And Mary, thank you so much. Is there any chance we could ever get the Clydesdales back in town? I miss seeing them out at the Stroh Center.
To mention, we're looking for a train.
A train.
Train?
Just a train? Oh my golly. Okay.
Can we get
That'd be
the
great.
horses in the Christmas parade? That would be wonderful. Just a little
Well, thank you
job
so
for
much,
Mary.
Mary. Those are all good things coming up there. So, we've had somewhat of sharply contrasting weekends here. With the Black Swamp, everything went smoothly, swimmingly, and gee, we couldn't have asked for a better set of circumstances. All the stars were aligned properly and so forth. Everything worked out beautifully. And unfortunately, this last weekend, we had a situation, several situations that really tested especially our police force here, and several different ways there. But as you may have seen, a video of a fight this weekend in our downtown was posted online and reported by the news media. I haven't seen the media reports. I've caught a little bit of a snippet of one, but the first time I saw anything was thanks to Mike Osbacher. We were doing a video for the schools and the levy coming up, and you showed me, and I couldn't believe my eyes right there when looking at that. video that was making the rounds there in that. But the Bowling Green Police Division, in responding to the incident, showed outstanding professionalism. I can't underscore that enough, Chief Hetrick. That really came through. It tested their patience. They tried to exercise great restraint. And in responding to at least that one incident that seemed to go viral there, it showed outstanding professionalism. I applaud the efforts, the officers involved, and of course you, Chief, and the entire force there. As we close out what was a very busy weekend for our police division, I want to note that I am proud of our well-trained and accredited police division, and I wholeheartedly support our police officers and call for respect for the critical role that they hold in our community. And I know, Mr. President, you reached out to Chief Hetrick this morning, and I thought that was a wonderful gesture on your part. And we had a chance to visit this afternoon, and got a full briefing from the chief about the one situation. And of course, there were several others that were interrelated. It was an incredibly busy weekend for our police division. And it just, frankly, kind of sickens all of us to see how they were being treated. And they tried in every way possible to urge restraint and to keep things under control there. I know I cannot, of course, comment directly or answer questions from the media about the incident displayed in the video, as this is now a matter of the criminal justice system. But I do caution all of us to keep in mind that videos, we've said this time and again, do not always tell the entire story of an incident, which is why we must feel confident in our law enforcement professional community and our legal system. Shifting gears just a little bit here, as we discussed this summer, I am pleased to announce the appointment of a Sustainability Advisory Committee. This group will begin its important work to look at the sustainability efforts already ongoing in the community, where improvement may be needed, and make a recommendation on how these issues are evaluated. In appointing the committee, we sought diversity amongst its members. This included geographic diversity in the community, as well as seeking members to represent different business perspectives in town. I am pleased that the following people will be appointed to the Sustainability Advisory Committee. This is strictly an advisory committee, not a fully sanctioned commission, as has been proposed before. We're taking this first step here. But the members are Jody Anderson, representing the West Side; Holly Cipriani, also representing the West Side; John Coverly, Industrial from Lubrizol; Andrea Depinet, BGSU Campus Operations; Amanda Gamby, of course, our City Sustainability Coordinator; Todd McGee, representing business sector. Of course, he is from is the owner-manager of Best Western Falcon Plaza; Megan Reedy, an East Side resident; Adam Smith, also an East Side resident; and I'm very pleased that Paula Williams, who is and her husband own several restaurants, and of course we know her also as a middle school science teacher. So we're very pleased that all these citizens are willing to work on this very, very important project, the Sustainability Advisory Committee, and serve. So, Mr. President and members of council, that concludes my report, unless you have some questions for me.
Other questions for Mayor Edwards? Very good. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mayor,
sir.
we appreciate that very much. Municipal Administrator, Ms. Treader.
Good evening. Before you, and thank you for introducing the legislation, was a supplemental appropriation that was not included in your packet. This is for the Public Works Division's repair and maintenance services. We've noted for you several times that we have aging facilities, and keeping up with those aging facilities is a sometimes expensive endeavor. In this case, this large number represents repairs done at the Court Street Fire Station to their air conditioning unit. Of course, we can't always blame that on age, as we learned at the community center. A lightning strike took that one out, so I guess any age can befall things, but this supplemental will help us get through the rest of the year with other repairs and maintenance ongoing contracts that we have for the maintenance of our buildings. I certainly don't care to be redundant. I think the people that spoke before me have said everything very well, but I just need to quickly, some things are so important that you need to say them again from your perspective, and that is to compliment my colleagues at the City of Bowling Green for their outstanding work on the Black Swamp Arts Festival. They do a lot behind the scenes to make that successful. And of course, we do enjoy a great relationship with the Black Swamp Arts Festival Committee, who is a very, very hardworking committee. And we were so pleased that everyone had a successful weekend. And also to lend my support along with the mayor, share with the mayor how proud I am of our police division and their continuing professionalism. This is why training is important, why accreditation is important. It shows in the professionalism that we saw from them over the weekend. That completes my report, subject to your questions.
Other questions for Lori? Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Planning Director, Ms. Saylor. Questions for Heather? Thank you. Parks and Recreation Director, Ms. Otley.
Good evening. Just a couple items. Friendly reminder, Wine and Cheese is rapidly approaching on the 27th. So if you don't have your tickets, you can still get them, $60 a piece. Lots of new and exciting items on the silent and especially live auction items. And again, that's this year benefits the new shelter at Carter Park. Also rapidly approaching, I believe before or right around our next council meeting, is the 3rd annual BG Zombie Mud Run. So I want to make sure you guys are all aware. And Ivan Kovacevic, our recreation coordinator, did mention that he is very happy to take celebrity zombies. So I think all 7 of you would qualify if you are interested in doing that, or you can sign up to compete, whichever you like. It is a little bit earlier in the season this year, so hopefully that may mean nothing, but logically you would think that it might be a little warmer. But really we have no control over the weather, so we have no idea. So we're hoping. And then just a couple of updates, and our regular park board meeting was scheduled for September 24th. We do not have business. We're going to cancel that meeting. And in the same time slot, we're going to have a joint working session with the park board and our foundation trustees. And the purpose of that is staff is going to present the fantastic Chris Guyevich, our natural resources coordinator, put a lot of time and effort into culling all of the different boxes of information of 17 years worth of from its inception to reality of Simpson Garden Park. And he presented that along with a slideshow from the very beginning to where it is now to our Simpson Garden Park committee at their first meeting. And we have a couple of committee members here, and they all said, wow, you need to share that with a lot of people, but especially the board and the foundation. And we have some representatives on that group, and they mentioned council as well. So we're going to have a joint work session. So obviously that's a public meeting, but it's a work session. So there will not be lobby visitation or anything like that. We hope that council can attend, and we're also hopeful that most of our board can attend. It's at their regularly scheduled time. And hopefully a lot of our foundation trustees can attend. However, it is the week of Wine and Cheese. So they are quite busy working on that. And also our first community focus group date is set. That was confirmed by Dr. Orr Friday evening. So I do want to share that. And I will have press releases out tomorrow on both these items. And that will be Tuesday, October 1st at 7 o'clock at the community center. And as I've mentioned several times, the first one will be focused on Simpson Garden Park. There will be 4 others. And as soon as I have those dates confirmed, we'll put together a flyer with kind of all of those. But they will all be at the community center at 7 o'clock. The days of the week will rotate just so we can make sure that we hit everybody's schedules. We will also offer free childcare at the community center. So those with young children that wouldn't be able to make it because of that, feel free to come out. And we'll offer that free in our Kiwanis Kids Clubhouse. So I will get the rest of those dates out as we get settled on those with Dr. Orr and her class. But the first one is set for October 1st. So that is all that I have, unless you have questions.
Questions for Kristen?
Kristen, will the public be allowed to speak at the October 1st meeting?
No, that's what I mentioned. It's a work session similar to when you all gather for your budget
No,
meetings.
the October 1st one, not the...
Yes, that's what that's all about. But that
Okay.
is under the auspices of Dr. Orr
Okay.
and how she sets that up. 3 years ago, it was sort of a SWOT analysis. I think she's
Right.
thinking a little more creatively this year and visioning and things like that. But absolutely, yes, that's what it's there for, is for the public.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. City Attorney, Mr. Marsh.
Report, but I'll piggyback on the mayor and Lori's comments about our police being an outstanding force. My prosecutors work with them every day, and they're always highly complimentary of the really outstanding force we have, and the training that shows up. We're pretty fortunate to live in a place that values that, invests what you all have invested in that department over the years. Pays off on nights like what we had.
Certainly. Thank you. Other questions for Mr. Marsh? Thank you. Utilities Director, Mr. O'Connell.
Just briefly, the hydrant flushing we do every year is ongoing. We started about a week ago. The plan is to go and start in Ward 4, which they've done, and then they'll go to Ward 1, Ward 2, and then Ward 3 to finish up. We'll probably be going on for several weeks as we go forward, but we try to get the word out to residents that they can expect some discolored, rusty water while we're flushing hydrants. And that's mainly because we're moving the water faster through the pipes, and so that brings up some sediment and debris that may get built up over time in those pipes. But it's also important because we're trying to make sure that the hydrants that are out there to serve the public are actually functioning, and they do work when the fire department may need them from time to time. So if people have questions, they can call us, and we'll give answers on where they're located and or about what to do with the discolored water. But that's all I have unless you have questions for me.
Questions for Brian? Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works Director, Mr. Kraft. Other questions for Mr. Kraft? Thank you. That completes our official reports this evening. Do we have any council committee reports?
Mr. President.
Robinette.
Yes, I do. As I mentioned at the last meeting, I prepared a report. I've given copies to all of you. And the intent of this is just to capture, it's got three parts, as you see in the heading. Summary of the CAP implementation recommendations to date, and discussion of the East Wooster Street strategy document, and then some general planning, zoning, and economic development updates. The beginning of this item, Roman numeral 1, talks about the CAP implementation. There are some items that have been completed. We've addressed these a number of times. The microgrant program, the Historic Preservation Commission is functioning, and the Parks and Recreation issue that showed up in CAP Priority 5H is partially deferred and partially moving forward. We know the shelters improvements are moving forward, and the rest of it will be addressed in the 5-year plan that we just heard about as that develops. So I think we'll see some movement there. The only thing I would request is that perhaps at least consider the discussion of the Bowling Green Community Center trail project that we've been talking about. Perhaps that might fit into that discussion in the 5-year plan as a suggestion. Moving down the list, we have an implementation that was tabled dealing with 2J in the document, in the CAP document, but development of areas near BGSU. But we've learned that BGSU has no plans for those properties at this point, so there's really no point in discussing that further. Another category here where we started implementation but not complete, dealing with bicycle issues. They were our 4th and our 7th priority, respectively, and they dealt with a couple of different CAP priorities. But I think we all know that we've had a tremendous recommendation document submitted to us from the Bicycle Safety Commission. That's being rolled into planning as we get closer to the 2020 budget. And I think we'll hear more about that when we get into the next budget year, seeing how we can incorporate those recommendations into our budget. And then deferring until the next category there, deferred pending a future zoning code update. We had a couple of priorities that all dealt with zoning issues, 1A, 3E, for example. But as we move forward here and we've discussed seriously the possibility of updating the zoning code sometime in 2020, those issues can be addressed. Significantly, we've also added, even though they weren't on our original list of priorities, CAP priorities 1B and 1D will be addressed during as we draft the Gateway District zoning, the Gateway District zoning district that's moving forward with our consultant. So we picked up a couple other cap priorities that we'll be able to see some resolution on. And then further deferred 9A was our priority, dealing with the cap priority 4G. Again, looking at some areas around BGSU, but specifically areas. Let's see, sorry, turn the page too quickly. We've still got to look at the possible land development strategy project results, and then and that's still ongoing. So we've still got some work to do there. But 4G out of the CAP document also dealt with some specific recommendations near the university, and we still need to figure out what BGSU is doing, but I think that can be addressed too, at least in part, with the zoning code update, because we can really we need to take a look at the non-BGSU property in that area that's mentioned to make sure that it's zoned properly for whatever it is that we want to see an outcome there. And then pending, we've the tax increment financing, the TIF presentation. Lori Treader has invited the Montrose Economic Development Group sometime later this year to come in and make a presentation so that we can all learn what not only what it means, but how we can use that or not use it as we see fit. But I think all of us would appreciate that, because I don't think any of us really fully understand the scope and the benefits that are possible there. So that's moving forward. And then the 10th priority that we established dealt with CAP Priority 2A around a registration program. We took some significant action in adopting Ordinance 8781, which amended 5 different sections of the code dealing with litter and nuisance issues. And then I think soon the Finance Committee, if I understand correctly, will be reconvened to address that issue further as we move forward. And before I move on, I just want to point out that supplementing that summary document, I also put an annotated version of the CAP document in there, and I made some margin notes on it. And when you look at that, highlighted in yellow are just the items that we identified about a year and a half ago as our priorities, and they're numbered 1 through 10. So this is just a cross-reference, so you can see what we started with in terms of our priorities as a council. When you look at the right side, there's also a blue highlighted area, and those, and we'll talk about that in a moment, those are items, and there's 16 of them. If we do decide to move forward with a zoning code update in the future, 16 different CAP priorities identified here in this document can and most certainly will be addressed in the process of updating taking a look at the update of the zoning code. And I think that's significant when we start thinking about how much effort and time we want to put into the zoning code, because we can not only broadly make improvements to our zoning code, we could specifically address 16 additional priorities that were identified in this CAP document. And then the pink area, which only appears on the core development page number 1, area number 1, are 2 CAP priorities that are necessarily addressed in that gateway district that we're developing. So we've got overlap here between moving forward on the East Wooster Street project and the CAP document. So this is just a quick cross-reference. I didn't want to recreate something, so I just made those margin notes. Hopefully the highlighting helps keep things straight. Just moving on to this document real quick. Roman number 2 just addresses the East Wooster Street strategy and what we're doing. I think this is all pretty fresh in our memory. So as you know, we're moving forward with developing that gateway district. We also addressed, in our committee, having an interest in seeing that EDS, MEDS, and BEDS district moving forward. But I think looking back on it, that's really got to be an agreement between BGSU and the hospital. If anything happens there, if the project occurs, it's going to happen on BGSU-owned property on Wooster Street. And, from that standpoint, because zoning isn't an issue there, the city's really not too much involved. We can help them in any way they need, but really that's got to be a collaboration between those 2 organizations. So I'm not sure what we can really do to facilitate that at this point. And then trying to get our arms around what does the recommendation for a walkable hospitality district really mean on the far end of East Wooster Street. And I think there's been so much development down there. We've got the roundabouts finished up over the interstate and the prospect of another roundabout and more sidewalk improvements coming in the relatively near future. I think once all that's done, I think we'll get a better idea for what the physical layout of the area is in terms of revitalized sidewalks and then perhaps take a deeper dive into what that really means in terms of a walkable hospitality district and how that ties into the physical improvements that have already been made. And as city administration has pointed out to us, I think we were intrigued by the suggestion of doing something with public art that came up in the East Wooster Street document. But the BG Arts Commission exists already, and I think at least in a large measure they can help address some of those issues in the short term before we try to create some other kind of structure for the implementation of public art. So I think, and I just bring that up because I think we're already moving in a lot of those directions right now. So that's where we've come on the East Wooster Street project. And then, of course, on other planning, zoning, and economic development issues, that diagnostic report that's been commissioned, and if I recall Lori correctly, 3 to 4 months perhaps, we should see some results from that. That's going to be a tremendous planning document and allowing us to see where we are and where we can go in terms of improving our zoning code. And lastly, and as I already mentioned, what a tremendous opportunity we have if we choose to go forward with a zoning code update and start that process in 2020, because not only will that help us focus our economic development and clean up our code to the benefit of everyone, it will also roll in 16 new CAP priorities. And I think that's significant as we start marching through that CAP document and implementing the items that that the citizens in collaboration with the consultant deemed important. So that's a high number. And I bring that up too because I know all of us talked about the possibility of establishing or looking at the CAP document for new things to reach out and try to accomplish as we move forward. And I think if we decide to go forward with a zoning code update, we're going to hit 16 new things right away. And given how we just need to keep that in mind before we start spreading ourselves and the city and asking them to spread themselves too thin on moving in many directions. But a great opportunity there. So that concludes, that's just the summary of it. I hope this helps capture what we've done. And the reason I wanted to do this is, over the last year and a half, this council's done a lot to move forward with the recommendations from the citizens groups and with help of the consultant. And we've recognized and moved forward on some fixes to our zoning code and recognized that more needs to be done. We talk about it piecemeal, and we do it piecemeal, but it really is part of a collective whole. And I hope this helps capture that. It shows that we're moving forward to make our zoning code better, to address the issues the citizens have raised, and make economic development a lot easier in the city of Bowling. That concludes my report.
Greg, thank you very much. I'm really pleased that you continue to upgrade or to update this process. I think it's really important, and I think that it accomplishes two things. Number one, it continues to shine a light on those issues that are outstanding, that's still requiring effort. And equally important, perhaps more important, I think, as you demonstrated tonight, it demonstrates that progress is being made. And I think that all of us should be really pleased about that, thankful to the efforts of the administration and everybody else that has been involved in that. So, I'm really pleased the progress is being made, and I certainly agree with your assessment in terms of the zoning code update in 2020. I'm very hopeful that that's going to be something that we'll continue to move forward with because, as you have indicated, that provides an opportunity to impact our community in multiple different ways. So I think that that's very important. So again, thank you.
Mr. President, I just wanted to thank Greg as well. It's been, I think, beneficial for each of us to have Greg constantly have his finger on the pulse and just continuing to keep at it, keep laser focused and communicate it to us. So thank you, Greg.
Mr. President, I'd also like to say thanks, Greg. This really is helpful. And it's interesting to see that the zoning update touches on 16 items. And I would agree that we really don't need to prioritize anymore with those 16 about to, be addressed. And I think 2 of them were things that we already had prioritized. I'm also happy to see that the rental registration concept is still out there, and looking forward to those meetings. Of the things that are on the CAP plan, I would say that's the thing I hear about most from the citizens in the east side. So I'm really happy to see that is going to committee. Is there any date that we can start to look forward to those meetings? I guess I would ask you, Bruce.
Yeah, John, thank you. As you say, it's an issue that people are concerned about. There's a lot of complex things to discuss. And so I think on October 21st at 6 o'clock, we'll have a finance committee meeting. And the general purpose will be to lay out the discussion that's been had through the CAP process, and make sure we're all clear on what has been discussed about a citywide rental property registration program. And just it's not something we're going to hammer out in a couple meetings of the finance committee, but I think it'd be good to just keep the thing moving and keep it in our mind. So we'll do that October 21st.
At 6 p.m.
Yes.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. Are there other council committee reports this evening? Very good. Kay, would you please lead us through the reading of legislation?
Legislation for first reading. Resolution number 3742 for first reading. Resolution authorizing the municipal administrator to enter into a renewal of the agreement with the Wood County Public Defender. Ordinance number 8797 for first reading. Ordinance amending the zoning district map of the city of Bowling Green, Ohio for in-lot number 2801 and in-lot number 2802, generally located at the northwest corner of North Enterprise Street and Frazee Avenue, from M2 General Industrial to R2 Single Family Residential Zoning as petitioned for by Maurer Rentals, LLC.
Mr. President,
Robinette.
that ordinance will also be asked to be scheduled for public hearing on the 21st at 6:45, which or as soon as we wrap up the committee meeting that Bruce introduced.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 8798 for first reading. Ordinance providing supplemental appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Bowling Green, Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2019 and ending December 31, 2019.
Mr. President?
Mr. Jeffers?
I move we suspend the rules and give ordinance 8798 its second and third readings.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Kay, would you please call the roll?
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher.
Yes. Motion passes. The rules are suspended for ordinance 8798.
Ordinance number 8798 for second and third reading. Ordinance providing supplemental appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Bowling Green, Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2019 and ending December 31, 2019.
Mr. President?
Mr. Jeffers?
I move we adopt ordinance 8798.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Kay, would you please call the roll?
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers.
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher.
Yes.
Harold.
Yes.
Motion passes. Ordinance 8798 is adopted.
Legislation for second reading. Ordinance number 8796 for second reading. Ordinance determining certain real properties no longer necessary for municipal purposes and authorizing the municipal administrator to transfer said properties to the Bowling Green City School District Board of Education. Legislation for third reading. Resolution number 3739 for third reading. Resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
Mr. President?
Mr. Jeffers?
I move we adopt resolution 8739.
Second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Kay, would you please call the roll?
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh.
Yes.
Motion passes. Resolution 3739 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8791 for third reading, ordinance levying a $5 motor vehicle license tax as authorized by section 4504.173 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Mr. President,
Mr. Jeffers,
I move we adopt ordinance 8791.
Second.
moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Robinette,
No.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers.
Yes.
Motion passes. Ordinance 8791 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8792 for third reading, ordinance amending the zoning district map of the city of Bowling Green, Ohio for properties generally known as 1019 Morning Dove Lane and 936 Robinwood Lane from S1 planned residential to R2 single-family residential zoning.
Mr. President,
Mr. Robinette,
I move to table, or recommend we table ordinance 8792.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Kay, would you please call the roll?
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette.
Yes, I'm sorry, I should have clarified, the purpose of the table is to allow for the public hearing to occur.
Okay.
So that motion passes. Ordinance 8792 is tabled.
Ordinance number 8793 for third reading, ordinance amending and adopting section 150.55 of the codified ordinances of the city of Bowling Green, Ohio regarding off-street parking.
Mr. President,
Mr. Robinette,
I move that we table ordinance 8793 again to allow for the public hearing to occur.
Second.
moved and seconded. Kay, would you please call the roll?
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland.
Yes.
Motion passes. Ordinance 8793 is tabled.
That's all we have. Oh,
8794, I believe.
we do have one. Ordinance number 8794 for third reading. Ordinance authorizing the sale and or disposal of former transit service vehicles by the municipal administrator as no longer necessary for municipal purposes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Zanfordino,
I've never seen Kay do anything like that. I just feel a need to say that.
that's a first.
I move to adopt ordinance 8794.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Kay, would you please call the roll?
Osbacher,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino.
Yes.
Motion passes. Ordinance 8794 is adopted.
Now
That
that's all we
completes
have.
the items on our agenda this evening. Is there any other business to come before council?
I move we excuse ordinance 87.
Motion is not accepted from the table. All those in, or I don't think
I
it's been
move to
seconded.
adjourn.
Yeah, moved in. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.